the first tournament so far of Steel Ocean, played by me, Spitfire. At the moment, you can only hear my voice, because obviously I'm in a TeamSpeak room, and I can't have those people going on because they might say information. Steel Ocean currently is the Asian competitor to World of Warships. There is usually only the North American server on it and a Chinese server, I believe, where the Koreans, well, there's a Chinese only server and a North American server, which everyone else plays on. There isn't a new server yet or anything. Let's hope there will be. It's more of a much faster paced game than World of Warships is. Ships can die very easily, so a more proactive playstyle rather than a reactive one is required. For instance, a pair of Yamatos in Steel Ocean can kill each other quite quickly, whereas in World of Warships, Citadel hits Citadel hits Citadel hit, but it's quite difficult to do. There's also other elements of the game, such as aircraft carriers and planes in general being a lot more difficult to operate as secondary armament for both anti-aircraft guns. Torpedoes and depth charges can be used as well. Torpedoes, actually, let's go with the secondary armament first. So, for instance, where's a ship with a bunch of secondary armament? The Nagato. You see all those guns on the side? You can operate all of them, and you will be able to operate them. This is manual firing, so there's no Battlestar Galactica firing thing like in World of Warships. You've got to operate all those guns. The only weapons in the game that will operate of their own accord are the small AA guns, such as those little ones there. No, not really. It's going to be things like 20mm cannons and whatnot. You can also control the AA guns as well, but we're talking about medium and heavy caliber AA guns. So, where's a good one for that? I'll get there. Give me a moment. Let's have a look at the Tier 10 American battleship. So, for instance, all those guns there, they are not dual purpose. They are single firing only. So, those are the kind of AA guns you control. Those are quad-barreled 40mm Bofors. The AA guns that fire on those own are those little 20mm cannons. So while a ship with a great amount of AA guns, such as in North Carolina Plan 1, that's got a lot of them, will be able to spot aircraft out of the sky, it won't be able to do it as quickly if the player does not use those AA guns as well. Actually, so secondary armament. Now, some very big changes as well in game are the torpedoes. Torpedoes are a lot more deadly. For instance, 3 or even 4 can sink the biggest ship in game, but the torpedoes can be seen unlimited render range, or at least a very far render range, and they are quite slow and easy to dodge as well. So in this game, they're relegated to more of a what's it called? Area of denial effect. So what I've been led to believe is that you fire some torpedoes one way and you fire them the other way. So instance you catch people in the vice because they have to stay in there now. Obviously, if they stay in there, that means they're spotted, they can't move freely, otherwise they're going to be caught by a swarm of torpedoes. And of course, torpedoes are absolutely deadly at close range. Obviously, I think a lot of people will probably have some flashbacks from the Shimakaze with its 15 torpedo spam, aka the Great Wall of Torpedoes, as it were. So that's torpedoes done. Now, another thing that not many people will notice is depth charges. There are submarines in Steel Ocean, and submarines are deadly. But I don't know if any of you have ever played Battle Stations Midway or Pacific, but submarines in that game, they had a limited amount of time they could stay underwater. So basically, you would have, I think, 3 minutes underwater, and then you'd have to surface again to get the oxygen back. This means that submarines are extremely stealthy underwater. They can only be sunk with depth charges at the lowest depth they can go. They can also be caught by torpedoes when they're on the periscope depth, but it's extremely difficult to kill them. And of course, these kind of function as the ultimate counter to battleships. But then again, we do have submarines like, this is derpy as fuck, but this thing actually existed. This is the Surkoff. This is a huge French submarine that has a pair of cruiser guns and its guns can rotate 180. If that isn't enough, this huge bagel also has torpedo launchers that can fire like that. You see that there? Those are torpedoes. as well as, you know, being able to fire them from the back as well. I don't think it has any torpedo tubes from the front. No, it doesn't. So, let's have a quick rundown of the classes as well. Actually, only light cruisers, I think. Actually, let me have a look at those light cruisers. That's a light cruiser. So I think it's only low-tier cruisers that can actually, low-tier cruisers and destroyers, and of course submarines that can sink submarines. So this is a good reason to have a destroyer on your side. It's not only for scouting, it's also to kill the other team's submarines as well, and to be able to spot them, because ships have sonar, they have radar and sonar. So like a bubble to spot ships and a smaller bubble to stop submarines. This means that a very stealthy submarine player can turn those battleships into mincemeat. So, Steel Ocean does have a lot of premiums, and these are very, very, very distinct and unique. Obviously, the first thing that people recognise is the Yamato. This is the Yamato in its standard form. This is the Yamato that people will be most relegated to see, and this is because this is the only wartime pictures, apart from those used at Leyte Gulf, taken, where the secondary armament was removed and replaced with more AA guns. In the end, that didn't save it, because they found out that enclosed AA guns were not exactly the greatest idea in the world when you have to spot things that buzzing around everywhere. But there are also very funny ones as well. For instance, we have a hybrid battleship slash aircraft carrier, which can launch a great deal of carrier planes and whatnot, and still has the armament to function as a battleship. What else is there that's extremely weird? Also, this is the battleship with the most guns in the game. This is a premium. These turrets were named Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Apparently, it was a very stable ship. It just cracked all the furniture and shut out all the glass. Now, there's something else you may be looking at in game. There is also a battlecruiser class, and this is functional to the Royal Navy only. Now, Steel Ocean does have some very developed trees, but at the moment we have 4 main nations in game. What's happening? Alright, I've already started the stream. It's on a 15-minute delay though. It's alright. So I've just been talking about Steel Ocean and what it does. Alright, take care. So there are 4 main nations in game: Britain, Japan, Germany, and the United States. The United States has submarines, destroyers, cruisers, with some light cruisers in the mix. For instance, we have the Brooklyn, Cleveland, and Fargo, carrier line, and battleships. The Germans have submarines, destroyers, cruisers. We'll get back to the German cruisers because they're very special, and battleships. The Japanese have destroyers, submarines, cruisers, carriers, and battleships, just like the Americans. But the Royal Navy has destroyers, carriers, battlecruisers, and battleships. So they're all very distinct trees. And then we have the the Chinese, sorry, with a destroyer. This is a Russian destroyer, a American or a Soviet submarine, and a light cruiser, which is British. This is the only British light cruiser in game, and it's Chinese. And then of course we have the French huge submarine thing, and then the Italians, which is one of the more prettiest ship I'm looking at. So the German cruisers, in contrast, the Americans, which are more focused on dealing damage through their guns and being fly swatters. The Japanese being a jack of all trades, so having guns and torpedoes. The Germans are very built on taking towards other cruisers and dealing heavy damage to battleships. So, for instance, we have the Dutchland class, and the first thing you'll be thinking of, holy shit, it has like no, well, it has torpedoes as well, but it only has 2 turrets. These are 11-inch guns, or what we'd refer to as 218mm. This is a recurring theme. So we have the P class, whose turrets are quite humorously set above. I'm not sure if they want to shoot aircraft or if they just want to have a lovely view of the seaside. And then of course we have the last one, which is the D class. So let's just have a look at the numbers. So the 280mm gun deals 895 damage with 414mm of penetration. Now let's go over to the Japanese tier 10. The Japanese tier 10 does 792 damage, but 236 millimeters of penetration. So, this means that while the 1941 plan might be bouncing quite a bit on the Tier 10 German cruiser, the Tier 10 German cruiser will be auto-penning it, and it'll be doing significantly higher damage as well. So the German cruisers are more built to build, are more made to take on battleships and cruisers, while the cruisers of the Japanese and American line have other uses. The Japanese line, of course, being a very jack-of-all-trades branch, with torpedoes coming out their asses and everything. I mean, just look at these things, they look beautiful. Alright, so, other things to know about Steel Ocean. Steel Ocean is very fast-paced. Any ship in the game can launch smoke screens. Any of them, but these smoke screens only last for a long time, and you only get a few charges of them. This means that when you know you're spotted, usually when people are shooting at you, you pop your smoke, you get out of there. But you can pop smoke again very quickly. And most ships have 3 charges, so you do 1, 2, 3, and you get out of there. I'm only on tier 6 for the game, so I'm not as invested in the high tiers as anyone else, but I have a rudimentary idea of what's talking about. Also, the time to kill in the game, like I said earlier, is very, 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 very quickly. As well as the fact you have to do a lot more yourself, but there's something not many people will realise, and you have commanders in the game, for instance. So, my Queen Elizabeth class has Leaf, who needs to be levelled up. So, at the moment, he gains a 75% chance to increase ship speed, main artillery reload speed, and aiming speed by 10%, and stuff, and increases main artillery penetration by 2%. We have this guy, who grants a 55% chance. Hello. Oh dear. Alright. Oh dear. If you told them that because of this shit we're running 40 minutes late. So, Iceforge, are you available? Okay.
I'm not going anywhere.
Everyone, this is Iceforge. Iceforge is one of the better players in Divine Intervention. He knows about the game a lot more than I do. Say hi, Iceforge.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I guess I'll take that with a thank you.
So, I've been talking about how Steel Ocean seems to be a lot more proactive based than World of Warships. You know, having to command your ships, crews, smoke screens, and stuff. What can you tell us about how Steel Ocean is played?
In comparison to World of Warships,
yes,
or just in general?
Well, both actually.
In comparison to World of Warship, it's a more rapid, tactical based game. World of Warships do have it's a very smooth, sort of calm game style, while Steel Ocean is a lot more rapid and very, 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 very changing. Because all the Warship games usually, you'll usually start to see how the game is going to turn out by halfway through, while in Steel Ocean you still have that something can go horribly wrong and change the entire situation very quickly.
The game can be very tense as well. I mean, running night battles with a destroyer is pretty heart-pounding. I mean, I was in my Laforet and I encountered a battleship. But this wasn't with flares. He was literally 50 meters away from me, and I absolutely shit myself. But
yeah, the night battle penalties, as they do, they put horrendous penalties on vision range, on radars, but they do not impede on submarine sonar. Which means that submarines do play a lot more vital role in terms of scouting than they normally do. But yes, running into battleships and heavy cruisers as a DD or a light cruiser on a night battle is very heart-pounding.
And it's even more satisfying when you actually manage to torpedo them and get a huge kill as bonus. So, a lot of I would say that Steel Ocean. Sorry, my stream just came on. 15-minute delay. So Steel Ocean has a lot more ships in it, the Mod of Warships. You know, there's a lot more prototypes, and people obviously want to play their national vehicles.
Absolutely.
In regards to advice to new players, what would you say? What would be the best lines for them to pick before, you know, the whole national pride and I want to get to tier 10 as soon as I can thing comes?
That is a good question. In terms of ship types, more convenient for newer players, or just in general meta game stuff? You're looking at, as for the skill curve, carriers requires a lot more map attention. A lot more, because I know I've been running into very bad situations myself, at least in the early games, and it do happen every now and then still, where since you're in an RTS view, most of the times you're looking at the fight from top view down, you need to keep attention on where your ship is, as you know the battle revolves around you, and you can keep going by simply using the automatic control system, because you're not using WASD to control your ship. You can use Q and E to automatically keep turning left or right, or you know, R and F to keep going forward or backward.
Yeah, so like a cruise control thing.
Yes, and on top of that, you also have to stay out of sight for, you know, enemy planes, enemy scouts, and keeping yourself, you know, hidden but close enough for the fight for you to push out planes quickly. So a lot of attention span, more so than your average ships, which makes the carriers one of the hardest ships to actually get into. You have ships like the submarine and the DD, fairly easy to run, you can get into it fairly quickly, but it's very hard to master, while carriers having the hard time facing that. They're very hard from the get-go.
All right.
Cruisers, very good at counter screening, as in killing the enemy light ships. Very good anti-air support. Very mobile gun platforms, and the later ones do have a very good chance versus battleships as well. So they're not to be shunned by simply by the lack of guns or penetration they have. And then you're looking at the battleships are basically artillery support. They're not the end-all be-all, because a blind battleship that cannot fire at anything cannot really help in the fight.
Yeah. Plus, they are probably what submarines are intended to kill, aren't they?
Absolutely. You have submarines in the game is intended for it. Submarines, if you look at the real actual use for them, they were mostly merchant chasers.
But a fair few battleships were actually sunk by submarines.
Absolutely, and carriers as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to the time to kill of the game, which a lot of people would probably encounter very early on, what can you say about minimizing that chance to, you know, be killed pretty quickly?
Always keep moving. Do not stop. That's general rule of thumb in here. That is one of the things that really differ from World of Warships, is that how vision works. As in, you know, you slow down your ship, you'll reduce your vision, or you'll reduce your signature, so people don't have as high of a chance to spot you. But at the same time, you're making yourself very vulnerable, and depending on your acceleration, means that you might not be able to get out of trouble as quickly as you can. While in World of Warships, you're always in trouble as soon as someone sees you.
Yeah, regardless of what speed you're going.
Yeah, while in here you can fluctuate your speed as well as direction to actually get them to lose sight of you.
Yeah. So possibly one of the more amusing aspects is that carriers are able to defend themselves against destroyers. I know that you're kind of the talk when it comes to using a Lexington or a Midway and happily killing people.
Yes.
Other things about the game is when it comes to using the AA, secondary, depth charges, main armament, it's a lot to take in, and I'm still trying to master that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was the differences between the national lines. So, what makes the Japanese, American, and German and British battleships so different from each other?
So
Because
the
that's,
nation
battleships, the
specifics.
first thing that people go for. It's
Yes,
big.
absolutely. The very hard specifics is one of the easiest ones is the British ones. They're not really the end all be all in anything, but at the same time they really do not have a weakness. They are masters of they're masters at jack of all trades pretty
Hey
much.
guys,
They're
Squeaky
very
Baby,
very
and
even
welcome back
across the
to Vault
board,
Tank.
making them a very strong recommendation if you start out the game for the battleship line. And the same thing with the carrier. At the late tier ones, the tier 9 and tier 10, they do have the fastest deck reload, as in they are the quickest carriers to get their planes up in the air, contra the Americans, which are usually slower. And then you have the destroyers on the British lines are masters at anti-submarine warfare, reflecting their absolute supremacy in the Atlantic War during the late wars. Or the late war period, making them very they have very good sonar, very short frequency in between the pings when it detects submarines, very long range on it, as well as they are maxed out to the brim with depth charges in every direction. And then cruisers are to be they're on their way supposedly
Soon, TM.
yeah soon. TM, they're on their way. As for when exactly they're coming, I can't really say because I honestly don't know. Hopefully sooner. The What else we're looking at? The German ones is probably one of the more talked about. It's a very recent addition in World of Warships as well. The German battleships have instant reload, the longest firing range, and very high native precision. But that is also reduced in the fact that they don't have as high damage output as the American or the Japanese.
So they're more of the sniper class?
More of a pure sniper class, yes. However, the short range, they have good armor. The mid range, where you start to see plunging fire, they do lack in the deck armor department, so they're much more susceptible to incoming fire from, for example, British or Japanese, which have high arcing guns. As in, they shoot pretty much straight upwards, and then the shot goes straight down, negating any belt armor. So they're horrible in mid-range, they're very good at long range, and they're decent on very close range, which is something you really don't want to be in a battleship anyway.
Yeah.
The Japanese ones are very tough. They have very high armor across the board, all the way up. Very hard-hitting guns. They are absolutely fantastic. But they do suffer in the reload department. And then the Americans, shortest range on their guns, fastest firing rate, and very good damage. But like I said, the British ones are overall across the board, not making them very average. But that also means that you don't really have any fallacies that you need to take into consideration or worry about, making them very good for new players.
Yeah. So what about destroyer and cruiser lines for new players?
Short sum. Germans haven't really tried them out now since they're a very nice new addition to the game, but they do have the favor of magnetic torpedoes, which means that the torpedo detonates whether you want it or not next to enemy ships, meaning that you'll do a bit of damage even if you miss the target, but still is in proximity.
And that is ready up.
Oh, are we starting?
I'm hoping we're actually gonna start before 9, yes. Also, if I'm a bit ticked off, it's because I am.
It's alright. Where's the ready button?
Oh, that's enough.
You're ready.
Yes.
Alright. Do we start hoping?
Yes, let's start. Oh, and the...
Ooh.
Well, this should be very interesting. One of the things that should be mentioned with this tournament, unless you have said so already, is that every single one in this tournament is very well renowned in the game across the board.
Yeah. Actually, speaking about that, these two clans facing off against each other, what's their history?
Crimson Blade, mostly Americans. We're usually not running against them because our
So
fleet is
Crimson Blade is Team 1 or Team 2?
Team 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have TaoG, which is Team 1, and that is consistently of German-speaking people.
All right.
It's a mix of Germans, Austrians, and around that region.
Mm-hmm. So these teams line up: 2 carriers, 3 battleships, a cruiser, and a destroyer of each. They seem to mirror each other in the tiers, but the differences are quite significant.
It's a sub versus a DD.
Oh yeah, sub versus a DD.
That is going to be interesting. The DD has the advantage of having much longer scouting range on the surface. However, the submarine can just dive and avoid fire.
Yeah.
However, it is very susceptible to torpedo bombers at that point. So this should be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think usually happens when teams go for each other on this map? Is there a standard meta to go for, or do people just usually make it up on the fly?
On this particular map, the general fight usually happens on the east side of the map, on the 6 to 0 lines, simply because of the open water, giving the capital ships a much more wider arcs to maneuver around in, to deal with planes as well as any potential torpedoes from other ships.
I take it there is no free camera in this spectating mode?
There is. Oh,
well,
I thought there was.
You have the top view. If you hit shift, you have what the carriers usually see. And that is the overtop.
Yeah. This is much
RTS
nicer.
perspection. So I will just quickly go through the ships and make sure everyone is following the rules in regards to no premium consumables and no.
Go for it.
Captains.
Yeah,
So
I'm talking to V after tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and everything is looking very nice.
That's good. So it seems both teams are naturally gravitating towards you said they were. One team having gone for 3 Nelsons, the other team having gone for 2 Nelsons and a Scharnhorst. We also have the same heavy cruisers, and it looks like one of the destroyers is probably regretting his life decisions right now.
Yes, it does. Yes, one of
Pretty
these.
awkward right now. He's being swarmed over by things.
Is a small ship. They don't really have as much anti-aircraft support power as usual. You usually just tag a group of fighters above them or 2 smaller ones just to keep spotting him. And
yeah.
Oh, look at that fire.
That rock though.
That accuracy though.
I'm surprised he hasn't been hit yet.
Yeah, that.
The thing is, we might jinx him. He might be blown completely out of the water now. So. Yeah. It seems to me like one team's battleships are kind of turtling together, so red team's battleships are kind of turtling while the other one's a little bit more spread out.
I see torpedo bombers coming for the destroyer in there.
Yeah.
No, you got fighters. You're looking at a full fighter group, and that's something that should be mentioned.
Yeah.
As well. Carriers versus carriers in fleet wars or in any competitive environment usually runs very heavy fighters first to deal with the enemy's potential of scouting your ships.
Yeah. So it seems the main fleets have finally engaged each other. The carriers obviously hanging back. The battleships seem to be stopping, but then again they're mostly hidden, aren't they? By all the smoke and everything.
Yes. They.
So
but they are very. What is concerning right now, though, is that all 4 capital ships on the top are steaming straight for the edge of the map, giving them absolutely no maneuverability to the left, which means that they have to angle out towards the enemy ships if they were to evade incoming fire or torpedoes.
Yeah. So nobody's lost yet, but it's kind of clear that the red team's battleships seem to be having quite a bit of fun with the other team. I mean, obviously the other team is.
Yes, absolutely. We're looking at the submarine right now. Look at this.
Oh, are you?
Oh,
boy!
Oh! Is in trouble.
He is definitely in trouble.
It's gonna be a depth charge.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. Half of his health. And Submarine's got to be regretting life, so it looks like
Oh, here we go.
Cheat
The
is going to sit on
retaliation
him.
of the capital ships now.
The retaliation, he might get blown up on that one. Although, the thing is, I think his job has to be to wipe out that submarine, because
Yes.
none of his other team be able to get him.
He went deep.
Yep, and one should note that once a submarine goes on max depth, which is that when it turns purple like this, oh, that is gonna hurt.
Oh, that is... Yeah, that definitely hurts. He's definitely regretting it. So what were you saying about max depth?
They get a mass penalty to their radio. Not radar or anything, but they get that too. They do get a penalty to their sonar, which means that they see a lot less, but they get a massive penalty to the radio, which means that they lose contact with the rest of the fleet, giving them absolutely no relayed vision that they'd normally get.
So basically... Yeah. So it seems that...
Those torpedoes from the left, though,
yeah.
the drum might actually get hit. Oh.
No,
yeah, we're seeing that. That drum is down.
Yeah, he's gonna get hit.
Oh! Ouch! So both of the prime scouters for the teams are dead.
Yeah.
So it's going to be up to the cruisers and the spotter planes now.
Yes.
And
what we saw that is one of those random lucky flukes, or very skillful,
quote unquote skillful.
benefit from the Japanese heavy cruisers, as the Tourny is.
Yeah, the torpedoes.
The American counterparts do not have any torpedoes past tier 6.
Yeah. So what makes them usable over the Japanese when it comes to them having no torpedoes?
Higher reload.
But there's some fire actually going on right now.
Usually better turning rate and higher reload. So they do very, very well in the active gunplay, as in chasing DDs or shooting other cruisers.
Yeah, that tone's taking quite a few hits right now. So it seems that both teams are playing the range game at the moment. Yep. You know, kind of sending their planes out to try and scout each other.
It looks like the Germans actually pulled a very nice maneuver here. They switched their ships around and are ready to start moving out to the left. And evading to getting themselves locked in the corner.
They're migrating to the left.
Yeah. We have the red team that is they do keep trying to use the benefit of the Nelson, and that is all those 3 front-facing guns. They hit hard, but you can only use all of the guns on the Nelson if you keep playing aggressive. So when you get pushed on the defensive, that's when those ships really show their deficits.
Yeah, and obviously if you turn around, you can't hit anything.
No.
Ooh, I think that. So at the moment, those cruiser players must be under quite a bit of stress because they're going to be the ones everyone's going to aim for first. So it looks like Bayon is going to go down in a bit, and Gary doesn't seem to be too happy either.
No, he tried to move into a recon role to help out as.
Yeah, I think he's going to go down.
And we see some love here with the Tourny and the Nelson.
Failure to communicate.
Yeah. Tone showing her panties to the Nelson.
Yeah. There we go.
Tone's blown up. So green team has lost both of their spotters now. So it's down to the planes.
Yes.
So.
I'm not sure how the plane war goes. It seems to be fairly even. You know, the red team moved their planes over their fleet, gets all their planes shot down, and the green team moves over there to get shot down on the right side.
All those plane going on at the moment, Jesus.
He's very vulnerable right now, though. He keeps doing turns. I don't think he's paying attention to where he has his ship right now, though.
Yeah, so it seems that red team is trying to go for the more aggressive stance while forcing green on the defensive. But obviously, Gary in the Tone is probably more of a very fast shot for the greens to kill at the moment. So, why the decision to take the Scharnhorst?
The Scharnhorst has the multi-role functionality. It's very fast, very agile for a battleship. That is. It's probably one of the better, well-rounded ships in Tier 7.
Where's it gonna go? Yeah.
Nelson being the better one in terms of pure offensive firepower.
The Scharnhorst can fill more roles.
Yeah.
So it seems
the
that
Scharnhorst is very hard to chase because it is
really fast.
It has
I know, but the thing is that a ammoniac for the Yorktown seems to got himself stuck, and also one of the Nelson, Scotty, is. I think he's a little bit out of place right now.
thankfully, Lucky One is the one paying attracting the attention.
I think we know who is gonna win the first match here.
Yeah.
Well, you have Unibum there trying to sneak in a good shot from the middle. There we see the salvo, and that
Ooh.
is
That is going to hit the
Oh,
Yorktown.
that's a
Oh,
carrier.
oh, oh, oh!
Oh! That must hurt.
very
That must be
very good
painful.
accurate fire. And
Yeah.
there we see, and here we also see the very important fact of having the vulnerability of carriers, because they will not take a full battleship salvo.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're very, very, very.
So
very
also,
lucky shots.
what we can see everyone here is what I was talking about, the AA guns. Thomas in the Scharnhorst is actually manually aiming his flat guns at that guy. But yeah, it looks like a Moniac in Yorktown is the moment he gets spotted, he's probably going to be plugged. So
what we're seeing due to that as well is that this game does require a lot more attention, active attention,
situational awareness as well.
Than World of Warships. Since World of Warships, you never have to worry about planes because you simply cannot do anything about it. However, here you can actively take part and shoot down the planes.
Ooh, he's not having fun.
Ouch.
I think Thomas and the Moniac are getting very self-conscious right now.
Yeah, they are.
And the Moniac bit the dust. Oh.
Yeah, this
Boop.
is.
Yeah, and Thomas.
This is
we
decided.
can probably call this on this match.
Come on, Lucky, carry mode. Come on, carry.
As soon as they lost their spotters and they lost a carrier on top of that, they simply did not have the planes to combat the enemy.
Seems
fleet
like
in
Lucky
terms of
One
vision.
just gave up.
Yeah. Ooh, and that put him under.
The first one goes to participation award.
Yeah. That is going to be a lot of coral reefs. So 2-2
and now we switch sides.
And
I'm going to save the.
Just typing right now.
What does this mean, boaty bags? Are you shitting me?
Yeah, that was.
Thank God
painful.
I asked if they're ready. Otherwise, we would have started without one player. I mean, although if we're gonna see another game like this one, this may already be decided.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't run into problems until they did get that plane over the carrier, at which point they lost the the air groups.
It was
so
it was looking pretty even when they lost their sub, then they lost their destroyer, but as soon as that carrier went, then they kind of fell back on the defensive. The other guys managed to push their ship straight up.
I really like to see them when they did that switcheroo and changed out and started heading west, because I really was under the impression that they were going to get themselves locked up in that corner.
Yeah.
Someone wants to switch out players. Is that allowed, or? I think TaoG's finest want to switch out for someone for Razzie Tazzy.
I was just about to say, as long as we don't, as long as they don't retake ships and they're replacing them, I mean the players can change between the ships, but the ships stay the same in the game regardless. That makes sense. So if they want Bayern on the class instead of Shit Happens, and Shit Happens grab the Toner.
Oh. Alright, well that game, it was painful to watch. It's just, I think like, it seemed to me that they were thinking of like going west and then heading down, but then kind of did a panic move and went straight to the west. I mean no, they went east and then go down, and they kind of did a panic move and go to the west.
Also, what's the chat button for in-game, or do spectators not get chat button? Chat.
It should be enter. If it isn't, try to use control and hover over where the chat window is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, it's not that fucking hard. Just put.
It's a lot different than Zabi. So we're going on it again then? Oop. Jesus Christ, man. Oh shit, Facebook is up.
So I counted down.
Oh dear.
Yeah, definitely speaking to V tonight. Shift you saying.
So, this time, what was it? The Americans are now on
Hello,
the
user.
south. No, actually, the Americans on the north.
Oh, hey V, I was just gonna saying how I'm gonna talk to you.
Mm-hmm. So the teams this time. So the Americans are at the north, they're green team, and the Germans are the red team at the south.
That would be correct.
So the Americans won the first round, and the Germans lost all of their ships.
Oh, we're in a battle.
Yep, we are live. V. With a 15-minute delay, of course. So at the moment, people are just actually watching the first game.
Yeah, just the start of the first game.
Yeah. So it looks like the Germans. It seems very nationalistic when you're referring to teams like this. Yeah. But for now, the Germans will be looking to get some revenge for the humiliating, I'd say, defeat where they went east on this. Well, where they went east on this map, did a panic move, and then got slapped a pretty bit. So we are at the same lineup with the Germans taking 2 Nelsons and Scharnhorst. I think we are. So the submarine and the destroyer will hopefully be invaluable again, if not just causing a massive hellstorm of fire to come at either each other like they did last game.
Well, I mean, it really, if Sheet Happens had managed to evade that incoming artillery fire, they would have been in a very, very good position to win that game.
Yeah. Problem is, just lucky shots like that can decide the game. I mean, we had that Yorktown that got completely blasted at the start. Well, not the start, after the destroyer.
Yeah, in the long-range skirmish.
Yeah. So Cheap in the M class is. Ooh, I don't think he's a very happy bunny right now. I mean, he's probably spotted by those planes and everything, and of course now he's got fire coming all over him and everything. So far, he seems to live a very charmed life when it comes to evading shots. I'd give him probably a bit of a... You know what? Let's give the Destroyer player a star for just avoiding most of the shots coming at him, because right now I would just be locking up in fear of being blasted by people. Oh, we got hit. Ooh.
Not much though.
No, not much
though.
though.
Why doesn't he sink down? How long do you stay spotted for after visual contact as well?
5 seconds.
And of course we've also got Raz in the cruisers. So the battleship concentration and stuff. So the Germans have their battleships kind of strung all over the place. Actually, I mean we've got a Scharnhorst in the middle. We've got 2 Nelsons at the front, and then the Americans kind of have their battleships concentrated. This kind of seems like a bit of a risky play for the Germans. I mean, although that Scharnhorst is quite capable of running away, having all their stuff dispersed might be a bit of bite in the ass for them.
Well, you do see that the carriers are taking a much more passive role with their ships. They're not following the battleships as close as they were last game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've got Krullian in his Yorktown kind of cowering in fear from everyone. I have to admit, was he the one who got killed first in the carriers?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. I'd want to stay away as well, but it seems the Americans' carriers are staying very close to their battleships. I mean, if they get spotted, they're going to get blammed.
And don't forget that you can use those 3 buttons to the left of the minimap to change out between player view, Legion view, as in the team view, and then neutral. So you can actually, jump in between and see what they actually see as well.
Yeah. Although usually you can usually see what's happening. Oh yeah. Well, the Razzie in the Tone has probably gotten spotted and got hit a little. We've got the planes about to have a bit of a fun chance for each other. So when it comes to carriers, what kind of role do carriers play when it comes to competitive games like this?
They really are all across the board. As you lose whenever you start losing capital ships, you tend to move over to
Ooh,
a more
The destroyer in cheap has been
uh,
taken off.
and you're looking at submarine torpedoes incoming as well.
Oh yeah, we are.
That is he gonna evade that?
Ooh, he might.
That is a close.
Oh, that is very close. And ships are also a hell of a lot maneuverable as well. So torpedoes, in comparison to other warships, they kind of seem like an aerial denial thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it seems that the Germans have gotten their submarine right into the pack of all those of the two Nelsons and the Tourny. So it's lighting them all up happily.
You do have that Scharnhorst that is on an adventure.
Yeah, but he seems to be going very slowly right now. I mean, of course he's going to fire, but with their team pushed back on the defensive, I would have thought that he'd be taking a far more proactive role.
Oh yeah, and a little bit more risk in terms of steaming down there, see if he can't come
because
up
it seems
behind
he
them.
might be too late to affect the game.
Yes.
Oh, that torpedo strike. Yes, yep. One of them's some of them's gonna hit. Oh, I would be shitting bricks right now. Jesus Christ, he's just taking 2/3 of. That has gotta hurt, man. That has gotta hurt. And then of course we've got the also the other one, Azrael.
Yes.
Yeah, and his rear torpedoes are loaded as well. Oh, bang, bang. Azrael's done, and Lucky One probably isn't feeling so lucky. I don't know about you, but Razzy's got the right idea. Get the hell out of there. I think Lucky One is going to be the one to go. So getting that submarine into the middle of the pack has so far seemed to be the game-winning move. Obviously,
meanwhile, the Scharnhorst at F2 seems to be completely lost.
He does. I mean,
Lucky One just bit the dust.
Lucky One just bit the dust.
I have no idea what he's up there doing.
Yeah, I mean, we can say carry mode, but I think he might have to pull off quite a bit.
I think they're not anticipating that the Americans carriers have such an active role in their fleet, because I mean you see that the carriers Hot Fox is right behind the cruiser.
Yeah, he is, and he can happily launch his planes really closely towards them.
Yep.
The risk being that.
Bam.
But I think it may have been well that who was it? That Barr's role has been happily done, because he's just caused the deaths of 2 battleships
he did.
And a cruiser.
Fantastic job.
Fantastic job to that guy.
Causing that much chaos and
yeah.
And that's something to be said as well. And when you're looking at fleet battles and more organized fights, submarines are necessarily not there to do damage.
They're there to spot.
Just their presence to keep the enemy fleet constantly vigilant and constantly paying attention, and having that reminding fear that if that sub shows up, they will not only be spotted,
but they won't be able to do anything about it either.
Yeah, it'll be very, very hard to deal with him, as well as he can cause very much damage unless they do pay him complete 100% attention.
Well, they know where their Scharnhorst is, and they're running. Ooh, pretty much. I think it's 2 Nelsons against him, or the other ones. Actually, they're pretty much pushing their entire team down now, thanks, because the cruiser is. Where is it? Oh no, it's not a cruiser. It's a battleship. Sorry, but I think in the case of Thomas Sofrey, it was too little and too late.
Yeah.
Hello, user.
Hello, Asner.
Ooh, I don't think this as well. I don't think Geva's going to be able to push this one off.
Yeah,
yep, the Yorktown's.
As well.
Yep. Well, he can be safe and certain that he will be a beautiful coral reef.
Yeah.
And the Scharnhorst just bit the dust as well. So in the end, yeah, I think
this was a decisive victory by.
Scharnhorst was definitely too little and too late.
Absolutely. This was.
It's 2-0
now. No, not yet.
Oh, and.
It's a matter of form. Yeah, now it's 2-0. It's over.
Yep.
Participation award goes up to the next round.
So it seems the Germans are definitely not enjoying this one.
No, this was definitely not their game.
I think they panicked actually. I don't know about you, but it kind of seemed like a bit of a panic.
I think they lost. I don't know. It's hard to play and stop a fleet that that runs as aggressive as the enemy did. And one should also mention that we're running this without commanders, so people are not having all the bonuses that they're comfortable and
Yeah,
used
so
to
people are
experiencing as well.
going in rough. They're going in rough and they're going in without any lube.
And now I have Boaty poking me. Actually, let's grab him up here.
Yeah.
User was moved to your channel.
Hello, Boaty.
Hello.
Hello. Nicely played there.
Nicely played, Boaty.
Thank you. It was without commanders, it was a very different experience. Stressful.
We loved the submarine in the middle of the
Oh,
battleships. It kind of looked like a fox just got into the hen of chickens.
Yeah, it's a mean fox, that one. Slow, fat, but mean nonetheless.
Yeah. Another thing was having your guys' carriers move really close to the battleships. I mean, that did seem really risky, but it paid off.
Having the carriers to move with our battleships.
Yeah.
Yes, you always kept the battleships, the carriers on a very, very short lease, very close to the battleships, giving you very quick launch times and very, very short flight times to the enemy.
Sure, let's pretend I strategize and blah blah blah.
Channel.
So you guys were
Right back.
watching and streaming everything?
Absolutely,
Oh, yes, the results
we're in
are
it right now.
Yep.
User left your
Okay,
channel.
so I assume that this is all. Like I don't need to do much else until.
Don't think so.
end.
No, administrative, it's on us, and I got screenshots from both the results on the battles,
Yeah.
and everyone, behaved a little bit slow on getting it going, but other than that, once it was rolling, it went very fast, very smooth.
Yeah. Congratulations on making so many beautiful coral reefs.
Yeah, no, our that shot on the destroyer, I did not know where it came from, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was really fun. Thanks for hosting this tournament. So I assume I just
Absolutely.
wait around until I find out.
Oh, I'm gonna jump over. Where did V go? He disappeared a little bit. I'm gonna check in with V, and then I'm going to set up and fix the administrative on the bracket board.
So
everything's
tournament's
thrown in
done
there.
then?
Absolutely. And
All right.
that was a very, very fantastic, intense. Was it 40 minutes, or did we even take that? 30 minutes ish, something.
For 2 matches around there.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Yeah. Thank you for participating, Boaty, and congratulations on the victory.
Thanks. Just one less off the shoulder.
All right. I'd like to thank Iceforge and Tao for being here with me and keeping me happy. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the first ever Steel Ocean tournament.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we might
Hey,
get
wake
to go through some of the other ships as well later on the upcoming matches as well.
Yep. So stay tuned for them. Bye, everyone.